Hey guys, so this video is going to be all about vaccinations, and this video was requested by someone to do vaccines, and I never really thought about it at all. Like, I was really naive to vaccinations in general. So I looked into it, and all these people are saying, about the autism and the MMR shot, so I decided, I'm going to investigate, I'm going to do my own research and see what I decide, because, I'm Aria's parent. I'm going to decide whatever I want. Some parents choose to vaccinate fully, some delay it, some don't at all. So, I just wanted to see, what I thought about it and my, do my own research. And I'm not here to judge any parents, or I'm not here to, say anybody's bad parent or be biased at all. I just wanted to do my own research on the topic and, see what I can come up with, and yeah, that's pretty much it. I don't want to get any negative comments from anybody saying I'm a bad parent for choosing this, because at the end of the video I am going to tell you my decision and my thoughts, and just what I'm going to decide to do. But I'm not going to be biased, and any parent that does vaccinate or doesn't vaccinate or delay, that's your decision, and that's great. So I just want to be informative and share with you guys what I researched. And sorry that I keep looking down. I did make a PowerPoint because there's so much information. I still feel like I didn't get all the information I wanted to. But, yeah, that's why I'm going to be looking down a lot, because I just wrote everything, and I have a really bad memory, so I can't really remember everything. And, probably 90% of the information I got was from .edu and .org and .gov. I wanted to get credible websites for you guys and real information, instead of going to just .com websites. So there was one I went to, I think, that was .com. So I did want to get the real information for you guys, because anybody can make websites nowadays. So don't get mad for the information that I put out here, because the information I did get was from those websites. I'm not making it up, so if you want to get mad at me, you want to get mad at those websites. So. But yeah, like I said, I don't want to get too much hate and be called a bad parent, because if I just get people that are going to do that and try to change my decision, I'm just going to disable the comments. But like I said, I respect you as a parent for whatever decision you make for your child. There's a reason why Aria is my child, and there's a reason why your child is your child. We make our own decisions for each child. So, yep, that's pretty much it, as far as what I want to say is the introduction, and I'll just get right into it. So, Aria got her first shot at the hospital, which most of your babies did, unless you chose not to vaccinate, which is the Hepatitis B vaccination, and then she got one more at her 2-month checkup. And right now I'm just kind of explaining what shots Aria's already had. Then she got her second round of shots. Like I said, at her 2-month checkup, she got 3 shots and 1 liquid one in her mouth. Now they didn't really explain to me, because there was 3 that were combined into 1 shot, and there was 2 other shots, and then there was 1 in the mouth. So they didn't really, I can't really remember what they said. They weren't really clear on it. But a lot of people, they have this stigma of, why do babies need to get a hepatitis B shot? And I kind of wonder that too. I'm like, well, why does she need hepatitis B shot right when she's born? Because that's mostly through needles, sexual contact, bodily fluids, all that kind of stuff. And actually, what I researched is sometimes moms can have the hepatitis B and pass it down to their babies. And I can't remember, I think I got tested for that when I was pregnant, so I'm still kind of confused about that. But and I read that sometimes it can be inaccurate, the test result for pregnant women, to see if they have hepatitis B or not. So, but that's what I've always wondered, and probably maybe some of you guys went through that too. So she did get the hepatitis B shot, and if you guys don't know what hepatitis B is, it's irritation and swelling and inflammation of your liver from the hepatitis B virus. And it's spread, like I said, from needles, sex, bodily fluids, tattoos, if you don't go to a credible place to get tattoos. And then the other shot she got is the DTaP or DTaP. I don't know how you would pronounce that, but it's broke up into different things. Diphtheria is a serious bacterial infection, usually affecting the mucous membranes of your nose and throat. So it can block your windpipe, so you're having, if you like have a struggle to breathe. And then the T, that stands for tetanus, which is infection of the nervous system, and it's potentially deadly bacteria. It's Clostridium, if I'm saying that right. I don't know if I'm saying that right, but it's broke down, usually it's called C. tetani. So, a lot of people, you guys heard of like the tetanus shot or whatever. And then the P stands for Pertussis, which is whooping cough, and you guys heard about that, like that was going on last year or the year before or something like that. But it's just the violent coughing and making it hard to breathe. So that's the DTaP shot. I think that was the one that's all connected. And she also got the, I'm going to murder this, so I'm not going to say it, but the type B Hib test, or vaccine. Your child can get the Hib disease, I don't know how to really say it, but you can get the Hib disease by being around other children or adults who may have the bacteria and not know it. The germs are spread from person to person. If it gets in the nose and throat, the baby will not get sick, but sometimes the germs spread into the lungs or bloodstream. So, yeah, before the HIV vaccine was, before there was the HIV vaccine, it was actually the leading cause of bacterial meningitis among children, which I thought was interesting, and that's usually under the year, or I think they say under, it was leading cause in children 5 and under in the United States. So, meningitis, as you guys know, or if you guys don't know, it is an infection of the brain and spinal cord coverings, which can lead to lasting brain damage and deafness. So, she also got, right now, like I said, I'm just explaining the shots that are at her 2-month checkup. And this is before I did any kind of vaccine research. I didn't know hardly about any of these shots. I just thought that's what you're supposed to get. So, I kind of wish I did research more, so I kind of knew what was going into my baby's blood, but now I'm glad that I have researched all this, so I know exactly. So the other one is the PCV13, and I don't know how to say the name. I'm going to leave all the shots below so you guys know. It causes blood infections and ammonia and meningitis, mostly in young children. And like I said, meningitis is the infection of the covering of the brain. The other one is she got the rotavirus, and it affects the bowels. It's like really severe diarrhea among infants and children throughout the world, and it causes the death the death that it causes is about crap, I had it somewhere. 600,000 children worldwide annually from this virus, which is interesting because I've never heard of this virus before. And some of these viruses are rare to get, but very common to get. There is a website on YouTube of all these, parents that their babies have gotten these diseases, even though you would think that they're rare. So I will leave that link below, so you guys can check out their stories. And then the last shot that she got is the polio, and that's a viral disease that can affect nerves and can lead to partial or fully being paralyzed, paralysis. So, that being said, I was curious to see how much people actually die from these diseases, because some of these diseases you don't hear of people getting these days. Not for me, maybe I just live underneath a shell or something, but so I wanted to see actually how many people do die from these diseases. Okay, so now that I told you all the shots that Aria has gotten, I was curious to see how many people actually die from these shots, or die from these infections and diseases, because you never really hear about anybody getting a lot of these nowadays. So I was curious to see how many have died recently from these diseases. So I'll just mention some. I'm not gonna read the whole thing, but Hepatitis B, in 2009, 38,000 people came infected with Hepatitis B, and 2,000 to 4,000 died. From the diphtheria, about 150,000 cases of diphtheria occur in the United States every year. But if you get it, usually only 10% die from it. So Tetanus without treatment, 1 out of 4 people will die. With proper treatment, less than 10% will die. With the pertussis, which is the whooping cough, prior to vaccine, pertussis causes about 8,000 deaths in the United States every year. Now with the vaccine, about only 10 children will die each year from it. Type B Hib. Before Hib vaccine, about 20,000 children in the United States, 5 years old, got it. But only 1,000 died. The PCV13, it's fatal in about 1 of 10 cases in children, and 700 cases of meningitis, 13,000 blood infection, 5 million ear infections, and 200 deaths. The rotavirus, let's see, what does it say? Before vaccine, almost all children in the United States were infected with this, which is interesting because I've never heard of this, like I said, before their 5th birthday. 20 to 60 deaths, and about 55,000 to 70,000 were hospitalized. Polio. In 1916, killed 6,000 and paralyzed 27,000. And the vaccine came out in 1955, and by 1960 the number of reported cases dropped to about 3,000, which is amazing that it went from 27 to 3,000. Actually, my Uncle Mike was born in 1950, so 5 years before the vaccine came out, and he has polio, and he can, like, he doesn't have he's not, like, extremely paralyzed, but he has a lot of trouble walking, so I thought it was interesting that 5 years before the vaccine came out, and he got it, so. And if you want to go and look at all that information, like, I kind of was, like, stumbling over it because it's a lot of numbers and stuff like that to go through, but if you want to go and look at all that information, go to www.immunize.org. Like I said, I have a really bad memory. That's why I had to write everything down, because I'm just having trouble. I did well research this for you guys, so don't think I'm, like, not knowing what I'm talking about. I do know what I'm talking about. I just have trouble sometimes. And the shots that she hasn't got yet is the Hepatitis A, which is also inflammation, irritation of the liver, and usually get it from if you inhale, like, or not inhale it, or swallow, well, I guess you could inhale, swallow, or drink anything with feces in it, or stools that contain the virus, and they usually don't get it till 12 to 23 months, and they get 2 doses of that. She hasn't got the MMR, which is the measles, mumps, and rubella. Measles is a rash kind of thing, and mumps is like a virus that causes fever, headache, muscle pain, loss of appetite. Rubella is also a type of measles that causes a rash, and they usually don't get that till 12 to 15 or 4 to 6 years old. So, yep, and she hasn't got the varicella, which is chickenpox. You guys all know what chickenpox is. She won't get that to 12 to 15 months, or the second dose is 4 to 6 years. And also, she hasn't got the influenza, which is like the flu shot, which they get yearly, and they usually start that around 6 months. So those are the flus that she hasn't got. So now I'm going to be talking about what's in vaccines. A lot of, parents have been saying that there's mercury, they're worried about the mercury in vaccines, and a lot of people say that there's monkey DNA, fetus DNA in vaccines. So I looked it up, and I got all my information from the FDA, and I'll leave, like I said, all the links below, so you guys don't think I'm making this up. So what's mostly in vaccines, let me find it, is aluminum, gels or salts of aluminum, which are added to help the vaccine stimulate a better response, antibiotics, for the vaccine itself, egg protein, formaldehyde, which I thought was interesting because I thought formaldehyde was really bad for you, but they say it is inactive bacterial products for the vaccine. I don't know how to say this, monosodium glutamate, MSG. Also the thimerosal, which a lot of parents are worried about because that's the mercury. And if you guys don't know what thimerosal, I think it's thimerosal, something like that, is a compound that is 49.6% mercury by weight. Although it's not used, it's really not used in all vaccines anymore. But anyways, it's to kill the bacteria that made the vaccine itself. is it harmful to babies? And like I said, this is from the FDA. When pregnant women eat foods or take medicines that contain mercury, the mercury can be transferred to the developing fetus through the placenta. So most babies are exposed to mercury before they even come out of the womb, and they kind of build an immune system to it. Or they're more, they believe to be more susceptible to the exposure because of what their mom ate. Is thimerosal still in vaccines that children receive? Currently, all pediatric vaccines in the routine infant, like the schedule of the vaccines, are manufactured without thimerosal as a preservative. So it's not as a preservative anymore. So now you guys know some of the shots that Aria's got and what they really are, and how many people actually died from those diseases, which surprised me. A lot of people do get a lot of those diseases and die and get sick. So, but what surprised me about being at my doctor's is that they gave me the handouts after she got her shots, not before. I don't know if they thought I was young and naive and didn't really think to read about it, but I would have loved to read about that stuff before they gave it to me. So I thought that was interesting that they gave me the handouts of the papers after she got her shots, which was really interesting to me. Now, the whole thing about the autism and MMR, a lot of people have a lot to say about this. A lot of people, say that, oh yeah, it's true, and oh yeah, and there's no way. Well, I'm here to tell you what I've researched and what I've found, okay? You guys probably heard about the Andrew Wakefield and how he did a study in Britain that the MMR shot, which is the measles, mumps, and rubella shot, is connected to autism. CNN did a thing about this, and I think it was in January of last year. They have retracted the British study, and that linked the autism to the vaccine as an elaborate fraud. You guys, elaborate fraud. Which means that it's not real. An investigation was published by the British Medical Journal, BMJ, I guess, concludes the study's author was misrepresented or altered the medical histories of all 12 of the patients. So, you probably got really confused about this. Andrew Wakefield did a study, and he only did 12 children, which I don't understand that. If you're going to do a study of children and vaccines, you would want a broad spectrum of children and ages and, different kinds, you would really want to do that. So that's what made me think that it was a fraud too. Sorry, someone texted me. Brian Deere, a British investigator, reporter, and journalist, was assigned to investigate the crisis and unearth, to see if it was true or not. He discovered, far from being based on any findings, the public alarm had no scientific basis whatsoever. That he had secretly payrolled to create evidence against the shot, and while planning extraordinary business schemes meant to profit from the scare. He had concealed, misreported, and changed information about the children to rig the results published in the journal. So, even Anderson Cooper via Skyped him, and he pointed out so many things that to prove that it is a fraud. I've been on websites, .com websites, where anybody can make a website saying that it is false. All the websites that I've went to, .org, .edu, .gov, have reported that, wait, let me go back. The .com websites, which I thought was interesting, a lot of people said that it is true that kids get autism from the MMR shot. Most parents believe that. So with that being said, all the .edu, .gov, all the credible websites say that it is a fraud. And I believe, if you guys want my honest opinion, I believe it's a fraud too. I think that there is no correlation to the MMR shot and autism. If you guys hate me for that, I'm sorry, but what I've read and what I've researched, all the credible websites have proven him to be wrong. And just by watching him via Skype with Anderson Cooper, he just seems like a complete liar and, what's the word I'm looking for? I don't know. I'm thinking of a word, but he just doesn't seem credible at all. Now, this is what was interesting to me, that I that changed my mind about the MMR shot and the autism. CDC, which is Centers for Disease Control and Prevention, conducted a case control study to see if it was if those were a connection. A total of 1,008 children. So that was interesting. 1,008 children versus 12 participated in the study. Of these, 256 had the disorder, autism, and 752 did not. The purpose of the study was to see if the ethyl mercury from the thimerosal, that's in the vaccines, increased the risk of children having autism. This study found that children with the ASD conditions and those without the ASD had similar ethyl mercury exposure at the end of each exposure period from pregnancy to 20 months of age. So that means that both autism kids and kids that don't have autism both have pretty much similar exposure to the ethyl mercury shot. So, with that being said, there was not an association with any of the autism outcome. The researchers found that the results were similar between boys and girls. Thimerosal-containing immunizations did not increase the risk of any of the ASD outcomes. And these children were born between 1994 and 1999. Children were 6 to 13 years of age. And that is on the cdc.gov website if you want to check that out further. Now, another thing that I was curious about was the schooling. You know, I've always thought that you had to go to school all your shots, so I researched that furthermore. The U.S. Food and Drug Administration, which is the FDA, regulates all vaccines to ensure safety and effectiveness. No federal law mandates vaccination, but all 50 states require certain vaccinations, exemptions allowed for children entering public schools. What that means is it's not mandatory for kids to get shots, but if you want your kid to go to school, you have to have all your shots required on schedule, or maybe not on schedule, I'm not sure about that, but you have to have all your shots to go to public schools. Now there is some exemptions, religious reasons, and philosophical reasons. Also, all 50 states issue medical exemptions. 48 states, excluding Mississippi and West Virginia, permit religious exemptions. And 20 states allow any exemptions for physical or philosophical reasons. So only 20 states allow that exemption for the philosophical reasons, and only 48 states permit religious exemptions, except for Mississippi and West Virginia, sorry. And now I thought that this was interesting, some facts about vaccinations. About 30,000 cases of adverse reactions to vaccines have been reported annually to the federal government since 1990, with 13% classified as serious, meaning associated with disability, hospitalization, life-threatening illnesses, or death. According to the CDC, infants less than 1 year old are at greater risk for adverse medical events from vaccinations, including high fever, seizures, and sudden infant death syndrome, which I thought was really interesting. Since the 19th century, most of the diseases have decreased mortality. Like most of the diseases that we have now were more back then, because of, you know, better hygiene, better water purification, you know, better sewage disposal, yeah, and probably better food, hygiene, and nutrition as well. Here's another fact. According to the American Academy of Pediatrics, most childhood vaccines are 90 to 99% effective in preventing the disease. When children who have been vaccinated do contract a disease, despite being vaccinated against it, they usually have milder symptoms with less serious complication than an unvaccinated child that gets the disease, which I thought was interesting. So with that being said, with all the facts, I'm going to let you guys know what I think about all this information I've given you. Oh, also what I forgot to say about vaccines, some vaccines do cause brain damage and stuff like that, which scares me. But anyways, with all that information being said, what I've gathered from everything, the things that bother me is if it is true about the monkey DNA and fetus DNA or whatever is in the vaccines, that does freak me out. The chance of Aria having a seizure or a brain effects from the vaccines, that scares me. The autism thing, they say it's been proven wrong. Maybe we might not ever know if it is a link. I personally think it's not a link, but we may never know. I could be wrong. Yes, I could be wrong. This is how I see it. I'd rather my child get autism than get a disease and potentially die. And like I said, the parents that don't vaccinate their child, I respect you. I respect your decision. It's your child. You will do whatever you think is best. I will think whatever is best for my child. So I'm not going to call you a bad parent, so please don't call me a bad parent. But I just rather my child, if it is true, I'd rather my child get autism than get a disease and die. And like I told you, a lot of those diseases you can still get and die from. And like I said, that website of parents that never thought that their child would get the diseases, I will put the link below and you can look at their stories. It's on YouTube and they just have like all the different kinds of videos of what their child was got. So, I am choosing to vaccinate my child. My child, Aria, she will get all her vaccinations. Now the thing I might change though is I'd rather spread them apart. I don't like the fact that she gets a lot of shots all at once, because you know, I see as babies' immune systems aren't that great, and why would they need all those shots at one time? I rather I just realized I kind of look naked in this video. I kind of look like I just have sorry, that was a random thought. But what was I saying? I just lost my train of thought. I just really don't even know what I'm saying. But Aria will get her shots. And I was saying I don't think that she should get them all at once. I don't like the fact that she gets them all at once. That really bothers me. So what I'm thinking is I think it's up to, like, whenever they go to kindergarten, I want to try and spread those out as much as possible. I'm going to talk to my doctor about that. So I don't like that she gets them all at the same time. So I'm kind of going to delay them. And, you know, shots aren't mandatory, so you can choose that for your child. Well, doctor can't obviously force you to give babies shots because it's your child. So, with all that information, I'm terrified. I am so terrified, and, like, you know, this is just my point of view. My child, if she gets exposed to chicken pox or measles or mumps or something, or like she gets exposed to that and there's no vaccine to protect her, that scares the living hell out of me. I would feel so terrible as a parent. Now this is just my thought, but I would feel so terrible as a parent if my child got sick and I did not vaccinate them, just because I believe from some website that the MMR shot and autism had a connection. Now, the side effects of shots are very rare, but they do happen. So that does scare me, but I am going to get Aria vaccinated. So that is my thoughts, that is my views. If you want to call me a bad parent, I'm just going to disable the comments. Like I said, I respect anybody that, you know, if you don't vaccinate your kids or you vaccinate, I still respect you as a parent, because that is your child. There's a reason why Aria is my child, and there's a reason why your child is your child. So we make our own parental decisions. So, plus, you know, you do need the shots to go to school, and my religious beliefs don't think in non-vaccinated children, and philosophical reasons, I'm not gonna lie and exempt from that. I mean, why? I mean, yeah. You guys know what I'm saying. So, I hope you guys learned so much from this video. I hope you know, I don't want to change anybody's views, but if I did, I guess that's great. I don't know. I don't really want to change anybody's views on this, because you're the parent, and I mean, if this information has helped you, awesome. I'm really scared to put this video out here because I feel like I'm going to get a lot of hate, but I just wanted to put the research out there and the information. I wasn't trying to be biased at all. I was not trying to sway one side or the other. I just wanted to show you guys the information I thought, and if you guys felt like I swayed, you know, back to get vaccinated, I'm sorry. I really don't mean it to put it out like that. I just wanted to get the information out there. I did try to get other information on the other side of the con, like the DNA of the monkey and the ethyl mercury that's in the shots. All that stuff terrifies me, but I just decided to vaccinate for my own reasons, and I told you guys some of my reasons. I feel more comfortable. So if you guys have, you know, like I said, I'm going to put all the links below. If you have any comments for me, positive comments, that's great. Informational comments, just, I don't want negative or rude comments or being called a bad parent, because I will just disable the comments. I hope you guys enjoyed this video, and yeah, I hope you guys don't hate me now or call me a bad parent. It's just my decision, and I hope you guys respect it, and I hope, you know, we can just move forward. I just hope you respect my decision. Yeah, I'll talk to you guys later. Bye.